Alright everybody, welcome to another episode of Unsheathed Gems. I'm not sure why they decided to let me do one of these, but they did. Today the knife we're talking about is the poker, which was designed by me. So maybe that explains why I'm on the video today. This is the one that I carry around most days. I kind of rotate between this, a mini Scandi, and then folders. So this is what I carry around. This knife though came from this knife. This is a knife that I wanted to make myself. I wanted to do it by hand. Basically, it's a kiridashi. It's a Japanese utility knife. Is kind of what it ends up being. In Japan, a lot of times these knives are made with a chisel grind. They're made with kind of an offset grind. This is something that, so the more I get into knives, the more I like the way the Japanese do things. Sushi knives, for example, kiridashis, they do it with nadas to an extent as well. Basically, they'll take a knife, and when they make it, instead of having the one side be completely flat like you would on a normal chisel grind, they'll put a really slight angle on the flat side, and then the other side has a steeper angle. What this does, especially for a knife like a utility knife, is when you're cutting with it, it gives you a perfectly straight line so that you can see exactly what you're cutting. This is especially important when you're making sushi because your cuts have to be clean and precise, but it's also helpful when you're cutting leather, which is specifically why I wanted to make this, because I'm left-handed, and most kiridashis that I was looking at online, they're made for right-handed people, and if you want a left-handed version, it costs like 50 bucks extra or whatever. So what I did is I just took a piece of 1095 here in the building. I actually ground this with a file, so I hand did the whole thing, and turned it into this little kiridashi that I keep at home and that I use on leather. So when I'm gonna make a little leather sheath, or when I'm gonna make a hot dog holder like John always calls it, this is the knife that I usually use to cut out the profile or the shape of whatever project I'm working on. So after I made this knife, a few people told me that it looked pretty mean, and that it would work well as a tactical knife, as kind of a self-defense EDC type blade. And so we basically, what I did is I took that kiridashi, changed the angle of the handle a little bit, added a finger ring, and we ended up with a kiridashi karambit looking blade. So that is where the Tops poker came from. It was based on a kiridashi, but it was turned into more of a self-defense blade. I am not a Filipino martial artist. I am not a karambit practitioner, but the concept made sense after I showed it to a few people that do know a bit about that kind of thing. And what I use this most for is opening boxes and packages and just normal everyday stuff. I've never had to use it in a self-defense scenario, but the way I carry it, I have it set up so that I can get to it quickly and easily. And it's a pretty, these flat blade profiles are pretty devastating with slashing cuts, but it's also got a pretty good tip for stabbing. So, you know, not being a martial artist or a practitioner or a knife fighter, which I don't think knife fighters really exist. The one thing that I have done with this is we took a class with Ed Calderon, Ed's Manifesto. He does a class where he shows people how to weaponize their environment and how to use a pointed object in a situation that might not be very fun. So I actually did get to use this on a pig carcass, and it was pretty awesome. We were most of the knives that we put through that pig handled it really well, but I was able to break ribs with this. I was able to do some pretty crazy slashes and some crazy skull stabs and things like that. It gave me a chance to actually use it somewhat for what it was created, other than cutting leather and other EDC type work. if you're enjoying the series, if you like the idea of this Unsheathed Gems, please let us know what you want to see next. It could be anything from an old retired model. It could be one of the one-off knives that Leo's made for himself. It could be just a knife that you really like and would like to know the background story, where it came from, who designed it, why they wanted to make it. Really, this series could be whatever you want it to be. So let us know in the comments what you want to see next in the Unsheathed Gems series, and we'll get to work on it for you. So thanks for watching, and take care.